Hey there, my name is Shane Craddock, and this is the Inner Edge podcast, where I share a different take on how to lead and live a sustainable, high-performance life. Over the course of different episodes, I'm going to challenge the belief that tension, stress, and struggle are essential to success and creativity. My experience is that there's an easier way, there's a better way, and indeed there's an essential way that we need to explore for the times that we live in. So let's go ahead, let's jump in and explore. Hello there, welcome to today's episode. I hope wherever you're listening to this that you're in good form, you're in good health, and that the sun is shining more often than it's not. Today's episode I'm calling What's Stopping You? And I came across a quote, I can't remember who it's by recently, and it goes like this: It's hard sometimes when nothing's stopping you to know what's stopping you, right? What is stopping you? And I'm going to answer that question, I think, today. And maybe to bring us into it and explore it a little bit, maybe give us some food for thought. I recall seeing a poster in a gym somewhere where there was a boxer putting on their glove. And the quote in the poster said, who's stopping you? So what's stopping you is definitely a who. So who's stopping you? Now, I'm going to say out of the bat or out of the gate straight away, you're the one stopping you. And I'm also going to say that getting out of your own way, learning what that is, what that means, and how to do it is the gateway, the essential gateway to high performance in your life and your career. So let's explore that a little bit. I remember I've mentioned a few times over different podcasts that, like many people, I've had my own share of challenges and difficult times. I had a very severe one when I was in my mid-20s. With severe depression. And I remember when I came out of that time, and obviously the pain was, at the time, created a lot of suffering, but that suffering did cause growth in hindsight. And I remember at one time, I would have sought out different types of mentors. I still do to a degree. But I remember one mentor saying to me, Shane, you just need to get out of your own way. And I just didn't even know what they meant. I was thinking, what the hell is he talking about? It's nothing to do with me. It's to do with my situation. It's to do with the fact that maybe my fears, I need to work on myself. I've got depression. I've got all these things going on inside and out. What does it mean getting out of my own way? But now I understand it because to me, it's quite clear. It's really to do with my inner voice, and that comes in all sorts of shapes and sizes. And then it'll say, I'm afraid of this, or I'm good at this area, but I'm bad at this area. I'm this kind of person. And even when I remember when I was writing my book, Inspire Me, like I really had, looking back, I really had to fight with my inner voice at times. And if I was doing it again, that book, you'd be kind of saying, no, you don't have to fight with it as much. You just recognize it for what it is, recognize that it's always commenting and that it has a hold on us more than we might realize. And so even when I've written a couple of stage plays, it was the same sort of thing. You're kind of continuously, that voice is making a commentary all the time. Even this podcast, I probably, at times my voice will come in and say, no, don't do it today. It's not ready. And then for me, I just kind of go, no, just jump around it and go, start. So the inner voice is always talking all the time. And even though you might say, yeah, I know about the inner voice, actually, I just don't think most people realize the extent to which it's influencing everything in your life. So just to give you a few examples of things that I would have heard from very smart, successful people. I'm thinking of one CEO client who would say, and they're really, really good. They say, I'm a terrible procrastinator. And you hear this a lot from people. I'm a terrible procrastinator. What the hell does that actually mean? And I remember they were saying, oh, look, I need to talk to somebody in my team and I'm procrastinating on it because I'm just waiting for the right time. The inevitable phrase, I'm just waiting for the right time. So I said, all right, yeah, that's interesting. It's causing me stress. And do you have any techniques that can kind of help me get around it? I said, yeah, no, I do. Let's stop the meeting, go find the person and talk to them. Sorry, what? But I'm not prepared. I need to. I said, no, you don't. Just go find them and do it now. And so you could just see the stress and the blood draining from their face. The stress came into their face. So off they went. We paused the meeting. They came back a half an hour later and said, oh my God, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Actually, that was quite useful. And I said, yeah, well, what's the lesson? And this is a lesson, by the way, that I have to watch in myself, because I'm no stranger to this challenge either, is that the perfect time to do it is now. The perfect time to do it is now. And so it's important kind of for you to be thinking about the areas, and I'll come back to this later on, around you and your career, your work, your life, whatever, and catch and watch for what are the areas that you're telling yourself, well, I'll do it when the time is right. There's a program that I run called Mindshift Virtual, which is kind of about learning the mental practical skills for the digital age. And in the most recent one in February, March, there was somebody on the program who just mentioned that they had a project that they were procrastinating on for, I think, maybe 3 or 4 years. And something in what I'm talking about today kind of struck a chord. So they just started, even though in their head, their inner voice was kind of going, well, the time's not right yet, And in the space of like 2 or 3 months, he was telling me that the amount of progress on that project, which essentially is to move house, get a new house, has just shocked him, just from every day saying, no, I'm ignoring the inner voice. Let's just go. Let's just start. And I think the key thing to understand is that, you can do it right now. And the inner voice, like getting out of your own way, is really getting out of the way of the inner voice. And in particular, I'm talking about procrastination here, but it comes into everything. It comes into relationships. I was dealing with somebody. A lot of the people that I deal with would be naturally competitive. I mean, I'm competitive myself, whatever that means. And being competitive, I think, is a good thing, because it makes you take on challenges. It makes you strive for things, to create, to succeed in your field, whatever that is. But it does have, like everything, it's a double-edged sword. Some people see competitiveness as a badge of honor, and that they can't switch it off. And so it really affects the relationships. I was talking to an entrepreneur recently who, when we talked about this, realized, oh my God, you're right. I have to win every single argument with all of my lieutenants. And I'm just realizing that I'm actually shutting off the one thing that I want the most from them, which is independent thinking, creative thinking, diverse opinion. But I just literally browbeat them all down, so that I know as we're talking here that they just have probably stopped. Like, what's the point? Because he just wants to win. And that is getting in your own way without realizing it. You're trying to build a great organization, trying to build relationships at home, even with your kids, with friends. There's going to be blind spots. Or even, say, for example, I know some people who want to lose weight or get fit, and they keep doing a version of this. I'll start Monday. Yeah, I'll start next Monday. I'll start next month. And even if they start, it's like, can they manage their inner voice? And I think one of the biggest afflictions of all, actually, is something that I wrote about in my weekly mail, just gone last Monday, about being present but not engaged. And you can be really present in a situation. Sorry, you can be physically present, but just not fully engaged. You're not really there. And that's also getting in your own way, because now you're getting in the way of enjoying the moment, enjoying your life. So this is, if you're listening to this, I would challenge you and say, if you're thinking to yourself, this isn't me, I'm good at taking action, I'm going to say to you, no. There's going to be some areas where there's a blind spot here for you. And I would encourage you to explore. And if it comes to, like, what, for example, is something that's bothering you? What are you saying to yourself on that? You might say, well, it's their fault, I'll wait for them to come to me. Or could it be somebody perhaps that, if I said to you, well, who have you lost contact with, that maybe when you think about it, maybe there's a tinge of guilt, and you're thinking to yourself, I'll ring them when things calm down, or I'll ring them next month, but you never really do. Why not just do it today? Get around your inner voice. There's nothing better than actually, and I think maybe this one of the funniest and simplest ones of all, getting around that inner voice. For example, those kind of times when it's like, okay, you say, okay, I plan to go to the gym, or I plan to do some exercise now, and you don't feel great. And your inner voice goes, don't do it today. It doesn't matter. But for whatever reason, on the day you do it, you say, I'm just going to do it. And afterwards, we all know then how that feels. It feels fantastic. You're just kind of going, I'm so glad I did it, get the endorphin hit. But you get the victory over that inner voice. Another question to consider for you would be, well, okay, what's an impossible dream for you? What's something you're thinking, well, someday I'd love to do this. I'd love to write a book. I'd love to go on a trip. I'd love to lose weight, gain weight, get fit, whatever. I'd love to change career. I'd love to change my business. I'd love to start a business. What's yours? And just watch what your inner voice is saying about that. Because what I'm going to say to you is no matter what it's saying, why not do it today, or at least start? Why not take the step? And it's funny, I used to think that even high achievers in all fields would be immune to this. And what I realized is nobody really is. And I think that's exciting to me because it means that whatever potential we think we have, it's much, much greater, because obviously potential is linked to action. So what might you be procrastinating on? And I think getting out of your own way starts with recognizing the role that your inner voice has, but also questioning its credibility. Questioning its credibility. Does it know what it's talking about? I'm not sure. Mine does most of the time. And I'm not sure yours is much different to mine. And if it's saying something like, I'll do that, or I'll start that when I learn something, or when I feel better, or when the time is right, then it's always a version of, when the time is right. The time is right today. The time is right now. So let's go. Food for thought. Bye-bye.